Hello peeps, Chromium Cheated is the name, but most call me Andrew, or Ace for some. Before I get started, I should probably clarify the content I'll be putting on this channel. I am a gamer, and a reviewer, so I'll be reviewing whatever games and movies that I currently have and wish to talk about. And don't worry, I have a lot of games. Yeah, I have quite a lot of games, even though you probably can't see half of them because they are behind those bins over there. And if you're wondering why it looks so cluttered, well, this is my bedroom, as I still live with my parents. Maybe I should not have mentioned that. Anywho, the game I'll be talking about today is actually something that I played a lot during my early adolescence years. Need for Speed Hot Pursuit 2. Something to keep in mind about this franchise. Around the time of this game's release in late 2002, Need for Speed was extremely popular for its time. Like Mario levels are popular. Throughout the 2000s, a yearly installment of this game had as much hype as you would... what would be the equivalent of today's game that isn't some sports game? Assassin's Creed? Call of Duty? Jesus. Guess people figure out that yearly installments make no creative sense. Bottom line, Need for Speed was the shit. And the good kind of shit, not the old kind of shit. Hell, according to various sources, the franchise is the most successful racing game in history, selling over 150 million units. To put that in perspective, the closest racing game franchise is Mario Kart at 110 million, and Gran Turismo was 77 million. That is a lot of units. And yet today, Need for Speed has little impact on the gaming industry, if any impact at all. It got so bad, in fact, that they rebooted the franchise back in late 2015, with mixed results. But the point of this video isn't to talk about the franchise as a whole. We are here to talk about this particular game, which is considered by many fans to be among the top 5 in the series. So what is my opinion of it? Well, since I've already have mentioned that I played this game a lot during my youth, I love it. But does it hold up? Kind of? Let's start off with the modes. As you can see on the menu, you have 2 different tournaments to go through. One is Championship, which is basically your run-of-the-mill racing challenges, while the other is Hot Pursuit, the star of the show, so to speak. Think of them as basically the hard versions of Championship, because not only do you have to avoid being captured by the cops, you have to swerve around traffic as well. Aside from those two, in Single Challenge you have a variety of challenges you could set up for yourself and your friends, and those include Number 1, Single Race, which is normal racing. Number 2, Be the Cop, in which you are the cop and try to bust as many speedsters within the time limit. Don't worry, we will talk about this mode later. Number 3, Lap Knockoff. Whoever's in last place at the end of the lap is eliminated. Number 4, Tournament. Complete in a series of races to crown a champion by overall points. And finally, there is Free Run. Simply practice runs around the track where you can do whatever the hell you want. Hot Pursuit 2 does many things right, don't get me wrong. Almost as its racing controls, it feels so damn authentic, almost as if you're literally driving the car. Of course, the authenticity comes at a price in the form of its stiffness. Usually this wouldn't be much of an issue, but many of the courses have a lot of tight turns, so you need to master the art of the handbrake if you want to squeeze through without skidding the rails. Unfortunately for me, since I am playing this on the Gamecube, it means I am playing with this. And I can tell you this much, it is not a race-friendly controller outside of first-party titles. Okay, that may be an exaggeration, since we are talking about a system that has produced some fantastic racing games. The issue that I personally have is the default control layout, specifically the speed mechanic. Whenever I play racing games, my instinct always say to go for the shoulder buttons, as years of gaming taught me. On Hot Pursuit 2, however, the acceleration is the A button, the brakes is the B button, and the handbrake is the X button. Since the ABXY layout on the Gamecube controller resembles more of an art palette than a traditional layout, it does feel off, to put it best. As for what the shoulder buttons do, well, they are mainly used to change gears, with L shifting down and R shifting up. And no, I haven't tried this out. nor will I ever attempt to. All you're likely going to see me do is cry, make the gear shift cry, smash the controller, and lurch forward by a freaking foot. Oh yeah, there's that as well. On the bright side though, you can listen to the kick-ass soundtrack while racing. But since I suspect that if any of them played on the video, I would likely get a copyright notice. Thank you, DMCA. So just enjoy the sounds of engine purrs. Moving on. While there isn't much to say about the championship, Hot Pursuit is actually pretty damn fun and challenging. The AI of the opposing racers isn't much to write home about, considering that you could easily outrun them if you don't crash and burn. The challenge comes from two things: the police and the traffic. The traffic in this game is very tricky to deal with, since they don't seem to bother the AI as much as they can really ruin your day. Funny enough though, the police can easily catch up to you, even when they use the most stereotypical cop car imaginable, the Ford Crown Victoria Police Interceptor. So it is pretty funny that your sports car is no match for your run-of-the-mill box car. They can easily screw you over, as the police have a few methods at their disposal, including the pit maneuver, calling for a buddy, spike stripes, and for some reason a helicopter. I have no idea why this is in the game, as it is pretty Holy shit on a stick, that was awesome! The graphics in this game were impressive for its time, even though you can only see it in standard definition. Surprisingly enough, even in HD, they are still relatively decent. The racetracks are diverse in scenery, European countryside, Hawaii, North American outback. Each one has different twists and turns, not to mention secret shortcuts you can use to get ahead of the competition. Each car is detailed down to a T that accurately captures the subtle craftsmanship you would also see in real life, and you can choose from a variety of colors to race them in. It is a bit of a shame though that each of the cars is essentially carbon copies of each other in terms of the mechanics. Same speed, same braking ability, same everything, even though in real life that isn't the case. And before anyone says that I'm ignoring the criticism that developers got lazy and used the same models on a few supercars with only minor cosmetic differences, that's not the fault of the game developers so much as the game including regional variants. Best example of this are the supercars that you get at the beginning, the Opel Speedster and the Vauxhall VX220. Seriously, the only difference between the two is the front grille. Well, since everything is covered, I guess it's time to talk about the mode I promised you about, Be the Cop. First, we need to pick our car. Since we know that the Crown Vic is pretty worthless. Oh yeah, I forgot about that part. I should have mentioned this earlier, but most of the content, mainly the tracks and cars, is basically locked behind a points-based paywall. And this is 2002, so if you want to get everything in this game, you really have to be committed. You can easily get points through 3 ways that I am aware of. Number 1, manage to avoid the police in Hot Pursuit. Number 2, finish a lap in first place. And number 3, win the race. So just finish first in all the races and you'll be able to unlock all the contents. Okay, now that we got that out of the way, we can now talk about Be the Cop. Truth be told, while it is fun to be playing the long arm of the law, without playing it with a friend to be the runner, it's kind of like a one-trick pony. So we'll be talking about single player. Much like the AI officers, you have the coptic bombs, spike strips, and backup. What you need to do is immobilize the target through multiple hits, and once you immobilize the target, you move on to the next target and do the same thing to that one. The goal is to arrest as many speedsters as possible within the time limit. I tried it on 2 different settings, on easy and hard mode, and since I only have the Crown Vic to work with, the difference between the 2 modes is pretty fucking dramatic. On easy mode, I was able to ticket 7 cars within the specified time limit, and I didn't even have to use the power-ups much to immobilize. you can easily pin maneuver them multiple times till their health bar depletes. On hard mode, however, I was only able to take down 2 vehicles, and on the last seconds with the second one. I literally had to use up all of my backup calls halfway through it. The AI was really fast and durable, and using only pin maneuvers to stop them simply isn't going to cut it. It's also best to keep in mind that those backup calls are a two-way street, meaning that if you accidentally run into them, you are basically fucked. All in all though, this game was a real trip down memory lane. Hot Pursuit 2 really shows the series when it was at its prime. It is a definite recommendation if you want to race some friends in realistic cars outside of Gran Turismo. Sure, there are a few technical hiccups that prevent it from being a classic, but for what it's worth, and with its abundance of content, you really won't be disappointed. This is Andrew, signing off.